Well, we still have a chance. So week 15 ended with the Packers defeating the Rams on Monday Night Football. And I remember like a couple weeks, as recent as like 2 or 3 weeks ago, I was kind of dreading this game because here's the thing: when the league schedules Monday night games, they do it with the intent of putting the marquee matchups on to end the week. And in the case of later this season, those Monday games are supposed to be like supposed to be like really important for playoff position. In the case of Packers Rams, this game was supposed to kind of be a jockeying for position, maybe be for the number one seed. Of course, it goes to show you can't predict football um, because all of a sudden the Rams and Packers seasons just went south fast and crazy. The Rams were in worse shape than we are. They were the defending champs. But anyway, so both teams were fighting just to stay alive, and in the end, it was the Packers who took it. Rams had no answers for us, so Packers won 24-12, and for the Rams, that's it. The season's over. They got eliminated, and they're on their way to having the most losses by a defending champion. Monday's loss was their 10th. That ties the record. And as for the Packers, yeah, we still have a pulse. We still have a pulse. We're a game and a half out of a playoff position because the Sunday night game was Giants and Commanders, and whoever was going to lose that would be only be a game and a half ahead of us, and it was the Giants who won that game, and they clinched the season series. But as for the Packers, we have our path to the playoffs goes like this: we got to win out, and we go to Miami, then we play at home against Minnesota and Detroit. I think that can be done. Washington has to lose 2 out of 3. Their remaining schedule: Niners, Browns, Cowboys. I think that's gonna be done too because Niners and Cowboys, those are tough cats. Um, Seattle only has to lose once. That's gonna be taken care of this Saturday because they got to go to Arrowhead, and I'm pretty sure Mahomes, Kelsey, and company are gonna eat that team alive. Now, oh yeah, about the Washington thing, it's either Washington lose 2 out of 3 or the Giants are gonna lose out, but I'm betting on the Washington thing happening. Now this is the trickiest part of the scenario. Detroit, other than losing to us on the final week, Detroit has to lose one of the other 2 games. That's a problem. That might be a problem. Detroit plays Carolina this week. It's in Charlotte, which is good, but the Panthers are 5-9. But they're also playing for something because the NFC South is continuing to collapse upon itself. So we don't. I don't know which Panthers we're going to get, but I trust them. It's the next opponent I don't trust. They play the Bears after this. The Bears aren't good enough to be an egg, let alone an NFL team, which the Bears haven't been in about what 30 years. But yeah. So here's hoping all works out. And now, I mentioned the Vikings earlier. It was 33-0. Yeah, it was 33-0. I still can't believe this happened. You know, the Colts seem to find ways to kind of embarrass themselves the last couple of years. For one, of course, you all remember this. They alienated Andrew Luck and ran him into retirement. Even worse, the Colts fans actually booed him for retiring. And then, of course, last year they had the winning in scenario 2 weeks straight, and they still didn't make it. Even worse, they lost that finale to a Jacksonville team that had 2 wins entering that week. And then, of course, this year they hired Jeff Saturday as their head coach. Of course, we all like Jeff Saturday, but even so, here's another white coach hired with no experience. But there are coaches out there who look like me with some experience, and they're not even being talked to. But again, and now we got this 33-0. It's an embarrassment, and and I'm watching this game, and I was laughing at the Vikings because they were getting killed like this. But then they started coming back. They outscored the Colts, knocked 39-3 in a span of a regulation quarter and a half plus almost all of overtime. So they came back from like that. And I looked at Matt Ryan, poor Matt Ryan, because I remember when it was down to one possession. Then when they showed Matt Ryan, I went, it's happening to him again because he entered this game. He already had 28-3 still embedded in his head, and now he's got this hovering over him. All these great numbers. He's got great numbers. He's thrown for over 60,000 yards and 380 touchdowns. But Two games are going to be all he's known for. The two biggest collapses, the two worst collapses in football history. That was the biggest comeback in NFL history by 1 point over the infamous wild card game. They're old. You could hear old Houston Oilers fans breathing a sigh of relief. That's 3 decades in the making. But yeah. So yeah, it was crazy. Of course, there were quite a few blown leads. I think the Buccaneers blew a 17-point lead, and so did Dallas. Dallas actually lost to Jacksonville. Jacksonville could win this AFC South, but Dallas did clinch a spot. They had to back it though. It was Seattle's loss on Thursday Night Football and Washington's loss Sunday Night Football that allowed Dallas to clinch. Of course, San Francisco beat Seattle, so they won the West. Congrats to them. Kansas City won their West division, but it wasn't easy. Houston's been making it tough last couple weeks. But yeah, so they took care of that. Uh, of course, the Patriots. What the hell were they doing? First of all, the whole thing was a mess, but it was a tie game. Why are you throwing laterals in a tie game? Just take the knee and go to overtime. Um, I know it's not like hockey where you get something for going to overtime, but still, you have a chance in overtime. And of course, the lateral went awry. It went to Chandler Jones, and who ran all the way back. First off, why you hand off the ball to Stevenson with 3 seconds left when you could just kill it a little bit and that go to overtime? It made no sense. And the sad part is Jacoby Myers is being unfairly scapegoated because he fumbled. He actually threw it to he actually threw it to Jones, but because it was backward. It's a fumble, not an interception. But yeah, Jacoby Myers is getting scapegoated for this when the real blame should go to the three stooges on the sideline, Larry, Moe, and Belichick. They made Josh McDaniels look smart. That's never a good thing. Like I said, I mentioned NFC South. It's continuing to collapse upon itself. Tampa lost, but so they're six. They dropped to 6-8, but still up by a game in the division. Yeah, everybody else is 5-9. New Orleans was the only NFC South team who won, and they were the only team who was facing elimination. But they won their game. They beat Atlanta. It's crazy. Now, in all this mess, who has the easiest path to win a division? The Panthers. That's right. All they have to do is win out. Yeah, all they have to do is win out. And Tampa, they have the top record, but Tampa can win has to win just two of their final 3 games. However, one of those two has to be Week 17 against Carolina because Carolina could get head to head if they don't, and that's going to be a nail in the coffin right there if that happens. So Tampa's got to win two, but it has to be Week 17 and either this week or the final week against Atlanta. So yeah, Week 17 is the important game. The Saints, I think the Saints scenario is they got to win out, and Tampa's got to lose twice. I think Atlanta's is a bit tricky. I think they got to win out. I think Carolina has to. I think does Carolina had to like lose two, and Tampa and the. I think Tampa and the Saints. No, wait. Okay, no. I think it said Atlanta has to win out. I think Tampa has to lose another game. Tampa has to lose another game along with the final week against Atlanta. I think Carolina and the Saints have to lose once. I think that's how that goes. It's crazy. It's crazy. I can't wait to see who wins that trade wreck division. It'd be something. Whoever wins that division goes to the Super Bowl. My goodness, with this year being crazy, I wouldn't be surprised if that does happen. Of course, I have to mention this. We all heard the news this morning. Franco Harris, the legendary Italian stallion, passed away today at the age of 72. Um, One of the great names in the history of football, one of the great names in the history of the Pittsburgh Steelers. Of course, Franco was before my time, but I learned all about the old school football as I got older. And of course, we all know what Franco's known for. Franco, of course, was best known for the immaculate reception, that crazy play back. Matter of fact, I think this weekend, I think this Friday marks the 50th anniversary of the Immaculate Reception, and it was supposed to be like a period of celebration, of honor, of looking back at one of the most iconic moments in the NFL history. But sadly, while it is going to be that. Sadly, it's also going to be like a period of mourning. Actually, even more mourning because uh, 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 um, Frank, of course, Franco and of course John Madden were big names in that, and of course, because that happened against the Raiders. It was a Steelers Raiders game. It just bounced. I think it was thrown. It was bounced off. I think the back of somebody, and it ended up in Franco's hands. I think it went all the way for a touchdown. Um, and yeah, it's heartbreaking. This is the second year in a row. I thought about this too. This is the second year in a row that we've been hit with like a very, very heart wrenching NFL related death during this period of the year, this period of the season, during around the holidays. Because remember, last year it was John Madden. It was matter of fact, next Wednesday marks exactly 1 year since next Wednesday would mark exactly 1 year since John Madden passed, one of the greatest coaches of all time, and now Franco Harris is gone. So yeah, it's gonna be there's definitely gonna be a remembrance of an honor of Franco, especially since part of this week, this upcoming week 16, it will be the Steelers hosting the Raiders on the 50th anniversary of the Immaculate Reception. That's going to be an NFL Network. Of course, it's going to be a tribute. I would think there will be a tribute to both of them, but I know there's going to be a tribute to Franco Harris. I'm pretty sure it's going to be league wide too. Um, yeah, so that's part of what's in store for us in Week 16. Week 16 starts with the Jags and Jets, and that's another thing. Whoever thought a game between the Jags and Jets, who have been like the gutter of the AFC for the last few years, whoever thought that would be an important game at Christmas time. But it is. It's an important key game for both teams because uh, Jets are trying to jockey. Jets are trying to get back above the playoff line. The Jaguars are trying to keeping pace behind Tennessee and probably contend for the division. Because as it stands right now, if the deficit remains at one game between those two, then the head head game of the final week that's going to decide the division. So yeah. So as I said, so we got that kicking off, and of course, a lot of actions on Saturday, Christmas Eve, because Christmas is on a Sunday this year. And like I said, the games I'll definitely be paying attention to: Panthers and Lions, um, Commanders, Niners, and Chiefs, Seahawks. I'll definitely be paying attention to that because they connect to the Packers' rest of the season scenario. The Packers actually play on. The Packers are one of six teams who play on Christmas Day. It's Packers in Miami. Then it's the Rams, Broncos in a very meaningless game because both teams are officially eliminated. And the Buccaneers are in Arizona for the Christmas Day. And on Monday Night Football, it's Chargers and Colts. It's Chargers and Colts in a big AFC matchup. And of course, I already mentioned the primetime game on Christmas Eve is Steelers and Raiders. And again, there's definitely going to be a period where they honor the late, great Franco Harris. So that's my recap of week 15. If you like this video, click the like button, click subscribe if you want more. Um, my stories on Vocal are in the description. It's three of them this week. My recap of week 15, a story I wrote about. Come on. A story I wrote about the comeback, about the 33-0 comeback on Saturday, and my story about the Jaguars. All three of them will be in the description, so check them out, give them a read if you can, and I'll be back to discuss the scenarios. All I ask for this weekend is have a wonderful Christmas coming up, have a wonderful holiday season, and make sure, I hope it's a prosperous one for all of you. And stay tuned.